Live from Radio Row in Minnesota, it's Levack and Goz on 104.5 The Team.
It's always fun to be here because you get a lot of football stars, you get a lot of TV stars, and then when you're really lucky, you get a champion. And joining us right now, Caleb Truax, Golden Caleb Truax joining us, the IBF Super Middleweight Champion. It was a long road between, you were going to be a football player, right? I mean, tell me about, like how does it start? So you go to Virginia State, and you walk out as a football player. What happens? Where do we go from there?
So I grew up playing football and baseball my whole life. I go to Virginia State to play football my freshman year of college. I had kind of a lingering knee injury from high school, and it just didn't work out, man. I couldn't get it over it, and I decided to come back here to Minnesota, the University of Minnesota, for my sophomore year, just to finish my education at home. One day, I'm in my apartment looking over the city page with my buddy and find an ad for a tough guy competition, and we thought it'd be fun. Joined up, both got our butts whooped, and he quit, I didn't, and I stuck with it, and that transitioned to amateur boxing for about 3 years, and I actually was ruled ineligible to be an amateur because of the tough guy tournament that I participated in, and I wasn't ready to stop boxing, so I turned pro.
Wait a minute. So your knee's not stable enough for football, but it's stable enough for boxing?
I took a little time off, in between it, and also what it was patellar tendonitis. It was real bad and like chronic issue, and the cutting and that type of stuff in football and with the cleats just wasn't working out. And in boxing, there's not too much of that, so it worked out for me. Haven't had any problems since.
Nice. It's amazing to me that you went from a tough guy competition, just seeing the ad in the paper, to becoming a boxer, to becoming a champion. Like, when did you have the moment that, like, I'm kind of good at what I'm doing right now?
So I fought in that first tough guy and lost. Then I actually went to the gym and trained for a little bit and fought in the second tough guy and won that one. And the guys from the gym that were associated with the tough man were like, hey, you should come to the gym. You're pretty good at what you're doing for never doing it before. Did that and had a lot of success as an amateur. I won all the tournaments here locally and regionally, and then went to some national tournaments and did pretty well. And like I said, just turned pro and kept things rolling, man.
We've got Caleb Truax with us right now, the IBF Super Middleweight Champion. You took down James DeGale to get the belt. Who's the dream opponent, and where if you could, would you fight him?
Whoever makes the most sense financially, and if I get a chance to unify a belt would be great. Right now, we're in talks with DeGale for a rematch, hopefully here in Minnesota. If not, then probably Las Vegas. I think it'd be in April. But I'm willing to fight whoever. I'm willing to go back to the UK and fight if I have to. I just go out there and fight, man.
For most boxers, that lead up to the title fight is big enough for them. The fact they have an opportunity to fight for a championship is incredible. Take us through that journey where you find out you're getting a title fight, and then just through the fight in December where it happens near the champion.
So this was the second time I actually fought for a title. I fought Danny Jacobs for the WBA middleweight title, and I approached when I got the call for this one. It was a surprise. I didn't think I was going to get a championship fight this quick and on the rebound, and I approached it like it was my last shot, man. Most fighters don't get one shot. This was my second. So I approached it like I would never get another one and just trained my butt off for about 6 weeks. And I stay in shape all the time. I stay in the gym all the time. But this was a little bit shorter of a training camp I would have liked to have. But my coaches had a great plan for me, a game plan, and I went over there, and I was a big underdog. I think it was like some people said 41-1, and I think my trainer or my promoter bet $100 on me, got 35-1 odds, man. If I would have known if I had known the odds that bad, I'd put some money on myself, and, doubled up on my purse. But no, man, it got ruled the upset of the year, and I was confident going in. It didn't feel like an upset to me, but it was. They say it's one of the biggest upsets in British boxing history.
You touched on Danny Jacobs there. I'm hoping you could fight at New York at sometimes. I know you're a Minnesota guy, but what would it mean to fight at a place like the Barclays Center or Madison Square Garden?
I would love to fight in New York, man. New York's a huge fight, the biggest fight town. Like the Mecca is Madison Square Garden. I'd love to fight there. Showtime's doing awesome things at the Barclays Center. Brooklyn Boxing is kind of like a brand now that they're getting things rolling in New York. And some of the smaller venues too are getting remodeled, and so I'd love to come to New York and fight. I got a lot of friends there, so I'd get some supporters, more supporters in London, that's for sure. I had about 6 people in the arena cheering for me in London.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to your next fight, but as a boxer yourself, is there one fight in particular you want to see? Like, I know Triple G and Canelo's fighting in May.
Yeah.
The heavyweight division looks great with guys like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. What do you want to see happen?
Immediately, that Wilder and Luis Ortiz fight looks awesome, man. That's at the Barclays, I think, in New York.
Yep.
That's going to be a fantastic fight. And whoever wins that is basically going to fight whoever wins Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. So it's kind of like a 4-man heavyweight tournament. That's going to be fantastic for the sport because the heavyweight division is what kind of makes the sport tick, because that's where a lot of casual fans come from. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Errol Spence's future against Keith Thurman, possibly if Keith ever wants to fight him. But there's a ton of great matchups for 2018, and I'm just glad I get to be part of be in the mix.
Caleb Truax with us now. Caleb, you're from Minnesota. This is the friendliest place I think I've ever been in my life.
It's different than New York. Huh?
Right. Well, I mean, we're upstate, so it's a little nicer than you'll think. How do you go from being in the nicest place in the world to punching people for a living?
I'm a pretty nice guy myself, man. But you got to flip a switch when you get in the ring, and you go in there to do a job, and it's not for the most part it's not personal. When somebody talks a little bit too much trash, then it gets personal. But you just have to be able to turn on the switch, and afterwards, you shake hands with the guy and go out and have a beer afterwards, and it's just it's all business, man.
We've got Caleb Truax with us, IBF super middleweight champion. Is that you got your own gear and everything now going on?
Oh yeah, so this is a Team Truax shirt, man.
Yeah, I was like, and the belt. We got a picture with the belt. The belt's amazing.
Yeah,
It's funny because I think about it. Like in New York, you walk around that belt, and some drunk's gonna want to fight you. In Minnesota, they're all patting you on the back.
It's happened. It's happened a couple times, and I usually don't walk around with the belt, but I have my boxing jackets back in the day. I've had some people start some stuff at the bar, but I don't know why. Because what about boxing champion says you can beat me up? But, whatever.
Speaking about that, like people thinking they can take out boxing champions. About 5 months ago, we watched the mega fight that was Mayweather versus McGregor. You already reacted before I even said anything. You're just tossing your hands in there. You think that was maybe Mayweather toying with McGregor for a few rounds?
Not maybe.
Okay.
It was. And him. Oh, I mean, he said he didn't train very much. I don't know if that's true or not, but he could have done whatever he wanted with him in there, and it was good for the sport because it brought a ton of people that normally wouldn't watch boxing, and the undercard fighters got to be showcased. I think it was like 4.3 million pay-per-view buys, so it was a huge event. But I mean, I won some money off of that's for sure. I don't know why. I don't know why people thought that McGregor was going to beat him in a sport they had never fought in before. But like I said, man, it worked out for me and it worked out for boxing.
What's next for Caleb Truax?
In talks with about a rematch for DeGale, hopefully in April, hopefully here in Minneapolis. I'm not sure if it's going to work out like that, but I think it'd be in Las Vegas if it wasn't here. But just waiting for word from Heyman Boxing.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck. The nicest guy who will knock you out in a heartbeat, Golden Caleb Truax. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.